The Grand Canyon fills me with awe. It is beyond comparison, beyond description, absolutely unparalleled throughout the wide world. In 1903, President Teddy Roosevelt said those words while taking in the Grand Canyon for the first time. Official preservation of the canyon as a national park came years later in 1919. It is now one of the most visited national parks in the country, with an average of nearly 5 million visitors a year. Now in its 100th year, the National Park Service and all of the millions who love this land look forward to the future of the park's preservation while protecting and sharing this living natural wonder over the next 100 years. The Colorado River, like the canyon it carves, can inspire fear, awe, and reverence. For Major John Wesley Powell, the river posed a challenge. After studying the reports of a failed first U.S. government-sponsored attempt, Powell, a geologist, convinced the U.S. government to sponsor another passage through the canyon, this time downriver. He designed 4 boats and gathered a makeshift crew of mountain men and Civil War veterans, and they set off from Green River, Wyoming. It was quiet at first, but the river quickly gained momentum, and Powell's scientific expedition became a fight for survival in the depths of the Grand Canyon. As the days and weeks wore on, Powell called the canyon our granite prison and described an almost unbroken series of rapids that the expedition ran, lined, or portaged. 3 men died after leaving the expedition and trying to make it across the desert. But Powell, who had been through the Civil War, fought on with 5 other exhausted and starved men. Their 4-month journey ended on August 28, 1869, and Powell became the first non-native man to lead a successful passage through the entirety of the canyon. He was full of respect for the river, the canyon, and the experience he had on his travels. He criticized casual onlookers with this note: "You cannot see the Grand Canyon in one view, as if it were a changeless spectacle from which a curtain might be lifted. But to see it, you have to toil from month to month through its labyrinths." The Grand Canyon's picturesque views have drawn photographers and filmmakers for decades in an attempt to try to capture the sheer magnitude of its depths. The Kolb brothers were no different. Ellsworth Kolb first came to the rim of the Grand Canyon in 1901. Then visitors stayed in small tent cabins and enjoyed the natural splendor of the canyon. And Ellsworth soon persuaded his younger brother Emery to join him. On his way out west, Emery stopped in a photographic store in Williams, Arizona. It happened to be for sale, and he bought it for $425. The Kolb brothers settled in Arizona as adventurers, filmmakers, and photographers, charging $3 each for a leather-bound book of photos. In 1903, they moved their studio to the canyon, working out of a small tent they pitched on the south rim. In addition to photographing their own adventures, they also offered their services to tourists, snapping souvenir photos of mule rides on the Bright Angel Trail. The Kolb brothers' profits allowed them to build a permanent studio on the rim of the canyon and led to a new challenge: using the new technology of a motion picture camera. The Kolb brothers were like the YouTubers of their day, chronicling their own adventures jumping off ledges, scaling cliffs, and running rapids, including capturing 101 days of river running on the Colorado River, both the pitfalls and the triumphs. Ellsworth said, "If I capsize, I'll film it first." Today, Kolb Studio still sits on the South Rim, and visitors can still look out and see the view that inspired 2 brothers to pursue their dreams.